female reproductive system and their functions. So let's have a quick recap of the female reproductive system. Well, the female reproductive system primarily consists of a pair of ovaries, a pair of oviducts, uterus, cervix, vagina, and the external genitalia. All these organs function to produce and nourish the female gamete, which is termed as the ovum, along with the secretion of the female hormones. Along with this, we also know that sperm is the male gamete, which is produced by the testes in the male reproductive system. Now here comes the obvious question. What is the process of formation of gametes in male and females called? Well, the process of formation of the male and female gametes in humans is called gametogenesis. And in this module, we will get to learn about this process, that is gametogenesis. In males, testes produce the sperm, and the process of formation of sperms is known as spermatogenesis. While on the other hand, in females, the ovary produces the ovum, and the process of formation of ovum is known as oogenesis. So let us understand them one by one. Firstly, let us discuss about spermatogenesis. Students, we know that the process of sperm formation in males starts at puberty. Yes, the coiled masses in seminiferous tubules are responsible for the formation of sperm. Inside wall of seminiferous tubule contains spermatogonia, or the immature germ cells. Spermatogonia increases in number by repeated mitotic division, and all of them are diploid, having 46 chromosomes. Some of them, called primary spermatocyte, undergo meiotic division and form the secondary spermatocyte. Do you know meiosis is a reductional division? Well, yes. After meiosis, the chromosome number is reduced to half. So the secondary spermatocytes are haploid with 23 chromosomes each. Now, a second meiotic division takes place in the secondary spermatocyte and 4 equal haploid spermatids are formed. Can you guess what would be the number of chromosomes in the spermatids? Yes, you guessed it right. It would be 23 because meiosis 2 is an equational division. Now, it is time for the transformation of the spermatids to spermatozoa, and this process is known as spermiogenesis. Here, I would like to tell you that from here, the process of sperm maturation starts. After spermiogenesis, sperm heads get embedded in the Sertoli cells and are finally released from the seminiferous tubules by the process called spermiation. Now, the question here is that how all these processes start all of a sudden once puberty is attained? Let me tell you. These processes occur under the control of the master endocrine gland, the hypothalamus. At the onset of puberty, the secretion of the gonadotrophin-releasing hormone, GnRH, increases significantly, which stimulate the anterior pituitary gland for the secretion of 2 gonadotrophins, the luteinizing hormone LH and the follicle-stimulating hormone, the FSH. LH acts at the Leydig cells and stimulates the synthesis and secretion of the androgens. We have discussed in our previous modules that Leydig cells secrete androgen, and this hormone stimulates the process of spermatogenesis. When spermatogenesis is complete, FSH acts on the Sertoli cells and stimulates the process of spermiogenesis, and thus a mature sperm is formed in coordination of the male reproductive system and the endocrine system. It's complex, right? Now, let us have a closer look at the structure of a mature sperm. Sperm is a microscopic structure composed of a head, neck, a middle piece, and a tail. A plasma membrane is present around the sperm. Now you must be thinking, do these parts have different functions? Well, yes, all these parts of sperm have different functions. The head part contains an elongated haploid nucleus containing the genetic material. The anterior portion head is covered by a cap-like structure called acrosome. The acrosome is filled with enzymes that help in the fertilization of the ovum. The middle piece possesses numerous mitochondria, which produce energy for the movement of the tail that facilitates sperm motility, which is essential for fertilization. You already learned in our previous modules that accessory ducts help in the transportation of the sperm. The secretion of accessory duct, which is the male seminal plasma, along with the sperms, constitute the semen. And this process is regulated by the androgen. So, here are some fun facts for you. Sperm goes from creation to ejaculation in about 3 months. The human male ejaculates about 200 to 300 million sperms during coitus. At least 60% of the sperms must have normal shape and size for fertilization. And for at least 40% of them must show vigorous motility. Sperms can live up to 5 days in the female body. Sperm will either carry a female X chromosome or a male Y chromosome, not both, which will eventually determine the sex of the child. Isn't it interesting? Now we will understand oogenesis in detail. As we know, this is the process of formation of ovum in the female ovaries. So, are the process of spermatogenesis and oogenesis same or different? Well, they are very different. And the biggest difference is that the process of oogenesis starts early during the development of female fetus in the mother's womb. Isn't that surprising? Yes, a couple of million gamete mother cells called oogonia are formed within each fetal ovary, and no more oogonia are formed or added after birth. Cell division starts in these oogonia, and as they enter prophase 1, they get arrested at that stage and are called primary oocytes. A layer of granulose cells surround these primary oocytes, and now it is called the primary follicle. You will be surprised to know that at the time of birth, a large number of primary follicles degenerate, and at the time of puberty, only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are left. More layers surround the primary follicle, and now it is called the secondary follicle, which is subsequently transformed into the tertiary follicle, which is characterized by the presence of a fluid-filled cavity called the antrum. Students, note that the primary oocyte inside the tertiary follicle, whose division was arrested, completes the first meiotic division, resulting in the formation of a large haploid secondary oocyte and a tiny first polar body. The tertiary follicle surrounding the secondary oocyte further matures into Graafian follicle, and a new membrane is formed around the secondary oocyte, which is called the zona pellucida. This process takes place in the reproductive phase after puberty. At the mid of each menstrual cycle, the Graafian follicle ruptures to release the secondary oocyte ovum from the ovary by the process of ovulation. So students, here are some fun facts. On an average, women ovulate a mere 400 to 500 eggs in a lifetime. More number of sperms is released during a single ejaculation than a woman produces egg her entire lifetime. Eggs have a special power to ensure that only a single sperm fertilizes it. So students, in this module, we discussed about gametogenesis in humans. In our next module, You will get to know the details about fertilization and embryo development.